Tardes, diferentes horarios. Hola a todos. Hello everyone. I'm Salma Yamel. Thanks for being here. You're also here in my heart. And I'm very excited about today's encounter as we can feel closer together, doing something good for ourselves and doing something good for the world we live in. And our motives have everything to do with the global goals of Sustainable Development Agenda of United Nations. This agenda was made by world leaders, but they are also convenient for humans, for us, for the environment, because they are to eradicate poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for everybody, for us, for all of us. And it all suits the Global Pact's collective goals as well. It is also good that we all participate doing our part along with world governments, the private sectors, education sectors, civil society, and people like us. So I think working together is how we can make the difference. And it makes my heart beat by doing it with art. All ways are important, not only with art, but everyone has their own ways. And just as all the goals are important, but three of the ones that resonate the most to me are actually the ones we're talking about tonight, which are 13, 14, and 16. These goals talk, the 13 one talks about climate action, 14 is about underwater life, and 16 is about peace and justice. The climate action one is about taking urgent measures to combat climate change and its effects. So after COVID-19, we can also do something from where we are at. And I hope everybody gets inspired to take their own actions based on their own talents and their own possibilities. We can all take actions. And goal 14 is about life below water. The ocean, and the ocean makes everything. It gives us life. Actually, the food we eat, even the breath we take every minute, it all comes oxygen from the water, from the ocean. And the goal 16 is about peace and love, no, peace and justice. And it promotes peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development and provides access to justice for everybody. So now let's see if art gives you some peace. And instead of giving a lecture, we have chosen to work and share with you all some of this art. And now we can continue with Lindsay's words. Lindsay, if you kindly, please.
Thank you, Salma. Lindsay is gonna talk to us about the meaningful way and reflections about the artwork of the collectives that have been working together and how these are weapons to keep being women of warrior, and also how reflections around the collaborative and intercultural work towards social change. So Lindsay, please.
My English name is Lindsay Delaronde. I'm Ganyakahaga from Gahnawage, which is in the province of Quebec. I'm a guest and visitor on the Kwangan territories, and I have lived and worked here and raised my two beautiful daughters on the Kwangan territory for the past 13 years. My background really is in visual arts, and there's a whole sort of educational journey that I've explored in education in terms of arts, and which keeps me here in Victoria as well. I'm currently doing my PhD in applied theater with a focus on cultural revitalization and cultural resurgence through performance. And so the history, that's a little bit about myself. The history between the collective that I formed called Visible Bodies, formed in August of 2019. So it's really new in its infancy. And I had met with Maddie, and we had sort of aligned this vision of the Visible Bodies Collective working in alignment with LAPAC's collective in terms of co-creation, collaborative practice, how to places in terms of intercultural alliances can form through the arts. And so we did a cultural exchange back a year ago, almost now, in January. And it was just these ideas and these visions of how can these two collectives work together. And so the themes that were aligning the work were around climate justice, climate action, and then it was sort of intersection with my previous work around cultural revitalization, embodiment, and really recognizing and resurging the traditional roles of women in society. And so when I start to sort of break that down, what I'm really talking about is the resurgence of our political and social roles as women. And so if I water this down in terms of, or follow that origin down into my own ancestry, I can see through the politics of Indigenous women back in my territory, the importance of women, the importance of embodying this authoritative power within society to keep the democracy and the egalitarian strength of a community alive. And so these are the types of things that I'm trying to work through, and the work that I'm doing is really about emerging this power of women through the embodiment of land teachings. And so how that translated into specific projects was the PAX collective came into Lekwungen territory, and I had done a collaborative work called Touching Earth Bodies with Valerie Celez, where we photographed Indigenous and non-Indigenous women in a clear cut. And so a clear cut is a devastated, exploited land mark, for the purpose of logging. And so here in the territory that I live, up island, there is a lot of logging that is destroying traditional territories of Indigenous people. And so when we look at that exploitation and commodifying land, we parallel that with the commodification and exploitation of women's bodies. And so when we parallel it, violence towards Indigenous women, and then we parallel violence towards the land, we can see the intentions of colonial settlerization to control and commodify and exploit land and female bodies. And so we have, through research and through time, through personal reflection, through experience, we have a history encoded, that really expresses this devastation towards female bodies, non-gender conforming bodies, and the violence towards the land. And so this project was through photography. And so Touching Earth Bodies laid a platform of a process that LAPAC's collective and Visible Bodies collective extended and created an experience for this intercultural collaboration to occur. And so when we look at centering women's experiences, on the land, we're centering, a intergenerational approach to healing. And so when we heal our bodies and we come together collectively as women, we also heal the land, the ancestors of that land, the spiritual component to the creative process is very much, holding us. The land is holding us. We're holding each other in these processes of creation. And so I think what that happens in this is something that I'm in reflection now. Looking back a year ahead, I'm thinking, what was happening then? What were we doing? you know. And so I look at it in terms of performance as weaponry, performance as a political message. So using artistic practice as a form of a weapon, as a tool, of something that can intervene into a politic or a social injustice. And so that's the work that I think we're pushing towards, and we're trying to deepen as a collective in intercultural collaboration, looking at the different devastations in relation to the territory that you live. And so we developed a photographic series photographed by California, who is the youngest person, part of La Pax Collective. And so that went on to some other activities that took place here in Victoria, visiting the Legacy Gallery, the Art Gallery of Victoria. We did a small exhibition at the University of Victoria exhibiting the photos that we took in Pachidat territory specifically. And so one of the components that we really wanted to integrate into the visual aesthetics of these photographs was something around beauty. And so we had the idea of, you know, why not bring color as this representation of diversity, color as this expression of different emotions and moods and tones. And so each woman was painted a different color and embodied a different color. And together we really, I think, created a prism. So that diversity was expressed, and that collective consciousness was expressed through multiple color, multiple bodies, which I think is extremely important when we come into centering women's stories through art. You know, really breaking the conformity of what a woman's body needs to look like, act like. And so self-determining through the whole process is extremely important too, I think, in building collaborative work that is co-authored. Everybody contributes to that. So there's an egalitarian consensus and a consent when it comes to strategizing these projects interculturally. And so these are all the things that we create in terms of the parameters, and some of the, you know, some of the boundaries that need to be established prior to going into, I think, multicultural production in any art form. And we experience a whole different other strategies and unpacking that we had to do when I went over to La Paz and went into the land in La Paz and went into the water in La Paz. And so really experiencing from, you know, a perspective from that landscape, learning through the women that embody that territory. So, and then we created a film called La Ramonas, and that was about the water, the disparity of water in that territory. And so we're looking really at, I think, these disparities, the discrepancies, but also the similarities and some of the amazing differences that make our intercultural collaborations very unique. And then which also creates in-depth protocol to be able to actualize the work in the territory that we are. And so that's sort of, you know, looking a year ago now, looking at the reflection and saying, you know, what is happening? What are we doing? And recognizing that women around the world are gathering. I mean, not because of, obviously not now because of COVID-19, but, you know, there's a legacy and a history of women gathering. Women have gathered throughout time to come together to practice ceremony, to be in each other's presence, to learn, to transmit knowledge, ancient intergenerational knowledge that is about wellness, balance, being harmonious, self-determined, and having a rightful position in your community. And so I think that's so relevant even today, as our ancestors have gathered, that we continue to gather in the same way. And now, you know, in the realm of an artistic practice, I integrate that spirituality. It's extremely important to keep everybody safe. When you're dealing with land, you're dealing with layers and layers and compound trauma of ancestry and violence against our ancestors, against land and body. And so that spiritual work is so important. And that's something that we also engaged in these collaborations, was we made sure that ceremony and ritual appropriately was, you know, integrated in ways that felt right, felt safe. And in some instances, there was moments where Some people didn't feel safe, and we needed to stop and reflect and leave that room for debrief and to see those moments where differences of cultural understanding sort of emerges through collaboration. So I think a lot was going on. Looking back a year ago, there was a lot. I was in Mexico you guys were here for like 10 days or 2 weeks, and you had a full itinerary, I know it. And then I went over there not too much long after, and for 7 days I was in La Pax. We created a large body of work, which also included Deborah Silver and Carolyn Victor, who are Indigenous from the Stalo territory, which is about 2.5 hours away from Vancouver. And so that was an interesting component, because we're all Indigenous from different places, with different protocol, with different understanding, with different governance structures, with different ways of being in terms of ritual expression and practices. And so we needed to be mindful about when and where ceremony was appropriate. And so I think we navigated that in the best of our abilities, and which leads us a year later now kind of being in this reflection, wanting to move forward, carry forward. And so we're wanting to show you some of the work that we created.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. And actually, I want to mention that Scarlet in California just got a grant from the state or the province of BC, the Baja California Sur, in Mexico. So they decided to use this grant to create a video clip that includes all reflections around the experience of the exchanges, and as Lindsay was sharing with us. So this is a perspective from Scarlet in California. I'm gonna share a video now with all of you, and I want to say thank you to the government of Baja California Sur, Mexico, because they supported with this grant, and also they did a hard work trying to also include some subtitles. So you can also read in English, because it's gonna be in Spanish, but you can also read in English the subtitles. They were working super hard at midnight for many nights, and I just wanna acknowledge that and say, great job, Scarlett, Anibel, in California, and Salma. So let me share my screen now, just one sec. Patient. Okay.
Estamos oyendo el audio, pero no viendo todavía tu pantalla, Mati.
Ok. Como que tengo que hacer todo al mismo tiempo.
Nosotras, artistas del estado de Baja California Sur, México, visitamos la provincia de Columbia, en Canadá, incluyendo la ciudad de Langford, BC. Ellas, artistas indígenas canadienses, visitaron Baja California Sur, México. Durante estos encuentros, conocimos tradiciones de nuestras comunidades hermanas, paisajes naturales, biodiversidad y cultura, así como los desafíos climáticos y de género que compartimos en ambos países. De esos intercambios surgieron inspiraciones para co-crear arte. Soy Scarlet Gonzalez y soy artista visual. Nací en Baja California Sur y tengo 29 años. En el contenido de mi trabajo artístico he intentado concentrarme en las emociones, los sentimientos. He abordado conceptos que están alrededor de mi vida, de mi entorno, tanto personal, familiar. Con estos elementos trato de hacer una composición, tratando con ello de encontrar un lenguaje universal en donde el espectador puede identificarse con similitudes, también con semejanzas y así confrontar una realidad que le permita emerger del sentimiento en el que se encuentre.
Soy California Estel, tengo 14 años, soy orgullosamente nacida en La Paz, Baja California Sur. He ejercido artísticamente desde muy temprana edad, ahora me especializo en fotografía y cinematografía. El tipo de fotografía que más me ha gustado y me ha encantado es la fotografía artística y comercial. A mí me gusta proyectar mi trabajo como un nuevo punto de vista, como algo que las personas no ven, como una pequeña flor en todo el mundo. Algo nuevo, que cuando una persona vea mi fotografía, diga wow, que sientan muchas emociones, que se enamoren de la foto.
Global Pax Collective reconoce con gratitud los territorios indígenas en donde fuimos amablemente recibidas y reconocemos a los ancestros de nuestra tierra peninsular, donde recibimos a las artistas en residencia. Mi experiencia en Canadá fue muy enriquecedora, ya que conocí lugares, así como la fauna, la flora, que en nuestro país y en nuestra región es muy diferente. Pude también conocer los lugares más importantes de Victoria y de Langford, así como algunos de Vancouver. Todo esto de la mano de unas personas amables, muy enriquecedoras en cuanto al ámbito artístico y cultural. Y pudimos conectar con su proceso creativo, con sus técnicas, así como con su cultura. Cada uno de los lugares que visitamos fueron de suma importancia, estaban repletos de un contenido visual y armonioso que para nuestra sensibilidad como artistas nos ampliaron aún más una visión para poder crear y para poder aprender sobre todo lo que estábamos viviendo en ese momento. Paisajes llenos de gritos, fuertes, luego débiles y una vez más fuertes. Nuestra madre tierra nos contrastaba, pero también nos mimetizaba. La resiliencia se apoderó de nuestros pasos, latentes en la tierra de encuentro. La gratitud y la lucha colectiva, en constante ascensión para un bien común, fueron las materias primas que retumbaron cada latido para las creaciones artísticas que con hermandad y sororidad surgieron.
Este intercambio cultural y artístico ha impactado y evolucionado en mí como artista y como persona. Ha sido una experiencia inolvidable. Al hecho de estar en un nuevo país, con nuevas personas, con personas que me enseñaron mucho. Simples cosas como una nueva postura para mi cámara o que mi cámara se descarga muy rápido con el frío.
Ramonas es un proyecto de videoarte con duración aproximada de 8 minutos, el cual fue filmado en El Triunfo. Y con ello trato de rescatar el sentido de pertenencia que los habitantes de Baja California Sur sostienen, ya que trato de resaltar los colores principales de las pinturas rupestres, los cuales son el negro y el rojo, así como también otro sentido de pertenencia y de lucha constante que se ha vivido en los últimos años de un gran problema social, el cual nos incumbe a todos, y es el derecho al agua. En enero del 2020 recibimos a artistas indígenas que provienen de Canadá y con ellas pudimos co-crear este videoarte, el cual se titula Ramonas.
sin agua no hay vida. Para el proceso de este videoarte, primeramente se hizo una visita al lugar de filmación, que es el Triunfo, en donde se encuentra la chimenea llamada Ramona, la cual está hecha por ladrillos. Actualmente es un ícono de nuestro estado y de esta población. En el momento que se realizó la visita a esta locación, se buscaron los escenarios perfectos para este videoarte y con ello hice una toma fotográfica muy sencilla para poder basarme en la creación de un storyboard y así poder realizar las composiciones del lenguaje visual que pudieran complementar una narrativa que dieran una gran potencia para los significantes y conceptos que conllevan al derecho al agua, a la vida y también al sentido de pertenencia que son las pinturas rupestres. Una vez que estuvo completo la narrativa visual de este videoarte, mi intención era que no tuviera sonido. Sin embargo, era muy importante para mí obtener el canto emblemático que una de nuestras artistas residentes de Canadá nos compartía en diversos encuentros que tuvimos en nuestro alojamiento. Este canto se llama Mujeres Guerreras. Asimismo, en todo el videoarte le pedí que utilizara su voz, sus sollozos, murmullos, respiraciones para poder crear un ambiente sonoro que pudiera complementarse con las imágenes. El impacto que obtengo para mi proceso creativo después de ese intercambio artístico y cultural es simplemente inmesurable, ya que el choque que tuve una vez que pisé las tierras de Canadá y de reconocer que la tierra que estamos pisando en el aquí y en el ahora no nos pertenece y que todo lo que obtenemos de tanto personas como de nuestro medio ambiente es solamente por un momento, por un instante y que hay que respetarlo. Ese sentido es el que más me impacta y que estoy intentando de que sea un permanente en mi día a día. Así como también cada uno de los elementos, símbolos, signos, cada uno de esos personajes que de pronto me encontraba en los escenarios de estas tierras, que de pronto se pudieron encontrar en mis creaciones oníricas y poder compartir este sentido, este sentimiento, esta emoción con personas que simplemente yo no conocía, fue algo asombroso. Y sé que emanar estos lazos con estas grandes artistas que hacen lo que hacen por pasión, por coraje, por una fuerza y lucha constante que les mueve en su interior, para mí eso ha significado un gran paso en mi proceso creativo. Estoy intentando no olvidar cada uno de los consejos, de los abrazos, de las técnicas aprendidas, de los museos, galerías, de los parques, las casas que pudimos visitar, cada uno de esas palabras que pudimos cruzar y que ahora en día yo sé que en mi obra se va a ver reflejada.
Como colectivo, el reflejo expuesto de nuestro trabajo de visiones de mujeres resilientes llegará en 2021.
Gobierno de Baja California Sur. Mejor futuro.
Ta-da! Good. Thank you, Scarlett and Callie and Ibel and Salma for working so hard. I think it's, we will have time to have a circle and have a conversation around this that you have shared with us today. But first of all, I would like Scarlett as a leader of this video project, if you would like to share with us something, and then we will give the voice to California, and then we can have the circle and open conversation led by Lindsay. Scarlett, you have 3 minutes, and then Callie 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hola, hi. Soy Scarlet Gonzalez, artista visual de Baja California Sur, México, y el día de hoy estoy sumamente emocionada por estar aquí con ustedes. Para mí es un honor y estoy muy agradecida con Mati por esta invitación a distancia, pero con una conexión muy fuerte. Salma.
She says, hello, I'm Scarlet Gonzalez, a visual artist from Baja California Sur, Mexico, and I am extremely excited to be here with you. For me, it's an honor, and I am very grateful with Mati for this remote invitation, but with a very strong connection.
Al momento de hacer una retrospectiva del trabajo realizado de noviembre de 2019 a la fecha, como ser humano, mujer, creadora y artista, me siento comprometida con mis acciones y procesos creativos, los cuales influyen de manera directa e indirecta con la sociedad y el medio ambiente.
Currently, I work with painting handmade paper and its multiple possibilities for the creation of my work. It is a concern and purpose for a fundamental goods towards awareness and reflection of their environment. Now that I am much more aware of my body, its possibilities and expansion and movement, I have lived processes that have reinforced the work with it as an artist.
Actualmente trabajo con pintura, papel hecho a mano y sus múltiples posibilidades para la creación de mi obra, su preocupación y propósito para un bien fundamental hacia la conciencia y la reflexión del medio ambiente. Ahora que soy mucho más consciente de mi cuerpo, sus posibilidades de expansión y movimiento, he vivido procesos que han reforzado el trabajo con el mismo como artista. Y pues Global Pax Collective es una red de artistas preocupadas y ocupadas por la co-creación sustentable y sostenible para lograr influir a gran escala positivamente de manera multigeneracional con nuestras piezas artísticas.
The Global Pax Collective is a network of artists concerned and busy with sustainable co-creation to achieve large-scale, possibly multi-generational influence with our artistic pieces.
Sanación y reconexión, colaboración, resiliencia son conceptos que nos definen. Cada proyección de nuestras mentes, corazones, círculos y conexiones han vibrado en la misma sintonía para así poder realizar con nuestros 4 elementos una convivencia ligada hacia un mismo objetivo, que son las acciones por el cambio climático desde adentro hacia afuera.
Inspiration, healing, reconnection, collaboration, resilience. All those are concepts that define us. Each projection of our minds, hearts, circles, and connections have vibrated in the same tune to be able to carry out with our 4 elements a coexistence linked towards the same objective: actions for climate change, from the inside out. Thank you.
Gracias, Alma.
Thank you, Salma and Scarlett. Thank you so much. So now, Kali, you have 3 minutes, and I know you have some photos that you want me to share. So just give me 1 sec. I'm just trying to do this right. Just 1 sec. Share screen. Mm-hmm. Okay, Scarlett. Kali?
Hi everyone, I'm California Stell. I'm a photographer as well as cinematographer. I live in La Paz, Baja California Sur, Mexico, and I want to give you a taste, a little bit of my work. This work is the work that I do with the girls, Indigenous women from Canada, and Mexican artists when they come to La Paz, Mexico in January. The first pictures I want to show with you is the first day of the year, the 1st of January, starting the year with a hiking with the girls, and we connect all together as well as artists and persons. So we learn, in my point, I learned so much and I'm super grateful from that. Next slide, please. Many of these pictures I've been taking, they are being taken in endemic places from La Paz, Baja California Sur, Mexico, like the mangroves. Mangroves is a tree that grows in the seawater, and it's really endemic. So we take the pictures there. Next slide, please. My vision of taking these pictures is make women powerful, empowerment, and make them feel because they are powerful. So I want all the world to know that. Next slide, please. Having a nature with dead plants or a environment kind of sad, that's how I want to say. With moments, I want to make them, the environment, feel again with life, with women. Women have the power to give life again. Women. Next slide, please. In these photo shoots we take with the girls, we use nature to make our clothes or the bandanas, you'll say it like that, with trees or leaves or flowers that we found in the ground. We don't cut them, we grab them from the floor, was going to die. So we decided to make something gorgeous with it. Next slide, please. My collection of these photographies is called Roots, because every powerful woman have a root. So that's how I want to call it like that. And this is some of my work that I've been doing the last couple of years. But this is the work I do in January with the artists. And thank you so much. Gracias.
Thank you, California. And I just want to say that, as you know, and you have here, California is only 14 years old, and she has been part of the collective since the beginning and even since before of that. So she's one of the pioneers forming, she's a founder of this collective. So thank you so much, California, also for your great effort speaking English, and you're awesome. I truly admire you. So thank you, everyone. Now, Lindsay, if you would like to lead us to a circle and an open conversation. Thank you.
Well, I just want to, thank everybody for being here first, taking the time to be with us, and all of the information that was shared in regards to these collaborations. I'm hopeful that people that have been part of this presentation can see the powerful impact of intercultural collaboration and the importance, I think, of learning and sharing from one another. As you know, cultural exchange you know, is probably not the best suited right now, but I think like moving forward, you know, moving onward with this type of work, I mean, we have the vision to keep, you know, being in the land and collaborating. And so for anyone that wants to just share on behalf of their own perspectives of this type of work, or you know, a critical intervention that could strengthen the work, or anything that is resonating with you. So it's really an open circle, and I'm just sort of opening up the space now. So it's for anybody who wants to reflect on what they've witnessed, or any type of resonating feeling that they have.
Sí. Adelante, si alguien quiere compartir algo en español, también podemos traducirlo aquí con Salma o con una servidora. So in English or Spanish, it is so important for us to hear you, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
¿Sí? Hello? Yeah. Well, on behalf of the Consul General of Mexico, Berenice Diaz Ceballos, I was speaking with her, okay, and she knows that I'm with you, okay, sharing all this unbelievable, incredible project. I really love your group, and to tell you that, okay, the Consulate General of Mexico here in Vancouver, we would love to continue the support. We know this has been a very complicated year, and actually I was moved to a different position, but it looked like starting on this January, I'm gonna go back to art, to cultural affairs. So you're gonna have me, okay? And it's just that, okay? Congratulations. I love the pictures. I love the video. Oh God, it's great. And we would love to share in our social media, okay? Thank you, Matty. Okay, congratulations. That's it. Mm-hmm.
I want to say muchas gracias and thank you so much for all the women that have shared. And I think the message that you're bringing to the circle is so important. And I find that so many of our bodies are sexualized and exoticized. And I speak that on behalf of like my people as well, just like my body has been exoticized and fetishized and sexualized, and I find that it's so difficult for me to like open myself up and really embody everything that I want to embody. And so your presentation and your words, your photos and the video really reminds me of just that liberation we have as women and the example that we have to set for each other, or that invitation to welcome one another in a space. And I think I want to know how, even though it's COVID, but I want to know how I can further engage with it, or how different women, because I know myself, but I know so many other women like who have been raised like I was, or just have not had the freedoms to express themselves. Yeah, I would love to find if there are opportunities for people like us and folks and women bodies, women and identifying folks to further engage with it. Yeah, but thank you.
Thanks, ofthe. I think what you're really touching on in terms of, you know, a shared experience around sexualized bodies and, you know, that form of oppression that I think that, you know, all walks of life experience. And I think that's one of the fundamental purposes of, you know, collective process is creating a space where you could actually even identify oppression. You know, I think it's really hard to be engaged in unraveling that in a society that wants to maintain that status quo. And so I think the artistic realm and that artistic container that artists are creating, artists, activists, scholars, you know, in combination of all, are creating these spaces, you know, people call them decolonized space, where we could look at impacts of colonization. And I think it's only within those very sacred spaces where even conversation can even happen. And so it's through the dialogue. I think it's through dialogue where the recognition of oppression and how that plays into our interpretation of self and others. And then from that dialogue, I think reflection can meet rightful action. And that's something that I'm, you know, dropping into even further, because although I've taken photographs for a long time in the land, women's bodies, self-determination, self-expression, liberatory type of, you know, drive. And at the same time, I think there are big issues, big issues, climate justice, you know, violence against you know, bodies and land. And so sometimes I can feel quite bogged down by the entirety of these really big global issues. And sometimes I think for myself, it's just creating those small spaces that can have big impact. And so how do we translate these concepts, you know, and push it further into the work that not only touches just people who are already convinced, but people that, you know, perpetuate capitalism and maintain, you know, ideas and concepts that keep people oppressed and themselves in power. And so I think this aspect of like supremacy, you know, one body being superior than the other, one place or territory being superior than the other. And so, you know, I think that's something that I'm trying to really tease out in my own work right now. And hopefully, you know, these intercultural exchanges keep momentum and we can see the power in them and express that power in through dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lindsay. Yeah.
Hola, hola a todos, Matilde. Felicitarte a nombre del Gobierno del Estado de Baja California Sur y de la Secretaría de Turismo. Y también de mi parte, tengo muchos años de conocerte y la verdad es un gusto el ver todo el trabajo que gente de Baja California Sur hace en el extranjero. Y más que nada, pues que son mujeres, ¿no? No sé si Salma me ayuda a traducir. ¿O tú?
Un momento. She wants to thank everybody and in the name of the government of Baja California Sur, from the tourism department, and on her behalf as well, she wants to acknowledge and she's thankful for the invitation, and she gives all the support as well, as personal friend of Maddie as well.
Recuerdo hace algunos años cuando te acercaste con nosotros de que ibas a iniciar tu Festival por la Paz. Y la verdad, pues me siento muy orgullosa que ha ido creciendo año con año. Y bueno, a pesar de este año difícil que hemos tenido en todo el mundo, pues se ha seguido y continuado trabajando muy arduamente. Y bueno, encantada de que me hayas invitado a estar en esta videollamada. y pues conocer todo el trabajo que se ha hecho y bueno, reiterarte el apoyo para lo que venga y igual Scarlett y California, felicidades por todo su trabajo. La verdad que cuando uno sale fuera de nuestro estado, fuera del país, es una experiencia invaluable y más el conocer otras culturas y el poder llevar también la cultura mexicana y pues todo su talento al extranjero, pues es algo muy bonito y bueno, felicitarlas y bueno, un saludo a todos a nombre del gobierno del estado y pues bueno, felicidades y pues adelante, ¿no? Muchas gracias.
Once again, Marcela says thank you, and on behalf of the government of Baja California Sur, thanks everybody for being here. And she was mentioning that she remembers a few years ago when Mati got a hold of tourism and Marcela for support for the PAX festival. And that was a few years ago, but now even with COVID, Mati is still working a lot, and she wants to reinforce the support that she's giving on her behalf and from the government. And she says congratulations to Scarlett and California for the work they have been doing. And yes, it's a wonderful experience when we go out to other countries and other places to know other cultures and other people. And she thanks everybody.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciated being invited to this and to see the work that everyone has created, and the concepts behind it and the activism behind it, I think are really important. And I really like how powerful the images in the video were. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me into this space, and to Maddie for inviting me, and to everybody for sharing. So thank you.
Me to finish, I want to say, everyone, thank you so much for being here, for helping, for support us as an artist. Thank you. Scarlett and I will leave our Instagram page and our Facebook, and the PAX Collective one, if you want to go to follow us. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, Matthew, Lindsay, Renee, all of you, everybody, for being here. Gracias.
Abro micrófono. Buenas noches a todas, guerreras, jóvenes, mujeres chéveres. Matilde me va a traducir. Conocí a Matilde, me contactó hace unos años, 8 o 10 años, no recuerdo, porque ella iba a hacer su festival Paz dedicado a África, para que yo la contactara con los embajadores de África acreditados en México. Matilde, sigue. Matilde, ¿me traduces?
Sure. So Norma is kind of telling the story how we met. We met maybe 8 years ago. It was actually in 2010. So it was 10 years ago we met when we organized a festival with the African culture. And we get in touch with ambassadors from Africa, and the main contact to reach out them was Norma.
Y bueno, hicimos todo el papeleo, y en ese festival organizado por Matilde, yo fui el enlace con las embajadas de África acreditadas en México, como ya les decía. Llevamos muestra gastronómica, muestra artesanal, desfile de trajes africanos, los embajadores dieron conferencias, se hizo una rueda de negociadores, se llevó una exposición también de cuadros de mujeres y muchas artesanías de África. Fue todo un éxito y duró 3-4 días, creo que de miércoles o casi una semana. Ese fue mi primer acercamiento con Matilde. Okay. Sigue, Mati.
So the first encounter we had was working through this festival, and Norma was the main contact to the ambassadors. It was actually we got like maybe 9 ambassadors from Africa, from different countries in Africa. They came to La Paz. That was so like historically, because I think never happened before something like that, to have that big number yeah, so sorry, I'm just reading this. It was great. We had arts in the galleries, conferences, a lot of activities during that time, 10 years ago, Norma. Wow.
Okay. Años después volvimos a contactarnos y me invitó a dar un taller a La Paz. Soy musicoterapeuta, además maestra de baile. Ahorita estoy manejando neuromotricidad con percusiones corporales. Hicimos un taller sobre el tema de la danza terapéutica, todo esto de juegos infantiles con manitos, moviéndose, etcétera. Fue todo un éxito. Fue mi segundo encuentro con Matilde. Después, coincidencialmente, nos encontramos por aquí, por la Condesa. Yo la llamé y ella iba pasando por la media cuadra de mi casa. No puede ser coincidencia. Entonces, nos hemos encontrado en muchísimas maneras y en muchísimos lugares. Energía nos han unido. Ahora me acabo de invitar a esta reunión. Hoy precisamente me llamó, me mandó un correo, tenía muchísimas cosas, las moví. Estar aquí me da muchísimo gusto en realidad estar con mujeres jóvenes que están trabajando por la naturaleza, por el mundo, por la vida, la paz, que somos unas guerreras y seguimos siendo guerreras. Gracias, Matilde, a ti y a todas las presentes. Bienvenidas.
So Norma is saying that she feels so grateful and happy to be here with young woman and warrior, and to see how we are working through these challenges, but also working for peace and in a collaborative way. And she also mentioned how we have been in touch through the years. But today I sent a message to her like, hey, would you like to join us? And she was super busy. She had things, but she canceled because she knew that she needed to be here. And we are very grateful for that. And so she joined us today, even it was like a last minute call. Yeah, and she's so grateful to be here and to see this powerful work in a collaborative way. Thank you, Norma.
Thank you para todos y todas. Anda Marco también.
So with everything, I just also wanted to, are we closing? Is it time to close? Yeah. Does anybody else want to say anything in terms of just the conversation before we close the circle? Okay. Yeah.
I know I have been talking, but it was more like a translation. I just want to say that my heart, mi corazón está feliz. And this is an intercultural, intergenerational, and international work. It's like my dream. It's like my personal mission. I was born for this, that this is my element, to be connected with people, with creative people, and to co-create and to collaborate towards social change, to positive social change. So I really feel grateful. This is like motivation to me, but also like filling up my cup. I just learned that. So anyway, it's como ayudando a mi alma. Gracias, thank you everyone. And I want also to invite to join the Global Pax Collective. We will keep doing work. I am finishing my master and I will use more of my time and my energy to co-create more of this work, because this is what I feel I have to do, and that's what I feel happy. So thank you, and thank you, Lindsay. You are my sister, and we don't know from so long time ago, but our souls, I think they know from so long time ago in memorial times. I feel you are my sister, and I feel so comfortable being close to you, working with you, and I feel grateful for that. Lindsay, you are a key part of this history, and I thank you for opening the doors in your heart to make it easy, as it has been. Thank you, Lindsay. I love you.
I love you too. And it's been a beautiful journey with everybody. And we hope to keep working together and collaborating and seeing, the potential, the potential of this intercultural partnerships. And so we're hoping to have an exhibition and, do some more work in the future. And this moment just archives where we are today. It doesn't mean it's an end of a journey. It means this is just the conversation and the dialogue and where it brings us today, a year later, in reflection from a year ago. So I'm really grateful as well, and look forward to the future work that we're going to be collaborating and doing together. So thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. If you want to stay for a picture, we can have a photo. If you are okay, you can turn on your cameras, or you can keep it like that. I know there are some technical issues sometimes. So let me smile. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Enjoy your dinner and your bye.
Bye. Chao a todas. Chao, Matilde. Gracias a todas.
Gracias, Norma. Gracias,
Buenas
Marcia.
noches.
Marco, hay que hacer más cositas. Vente para acá.
Marco, bendito entre todas las mujeres.
I know. Man. Marco.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.